All right, we're back after our 5-month hiatus for a in studio recording this time.
Yay.
Yeah, back in the new spot, undisclosed location, but new spot, mildly new setup. And we're first show backs with Smith versus Spann, September 18th. 15 fights originally. All things considered, ended up being 14. Pretty good. We only lost one.
What happened with that one?
Someone got hurt.
Oh, okay.
No, it said injury. I don't know I don't know if it was injury due to weight cut or I didn't look into it. I just saw our buddy sent me the thing saying, "Yeah, we lost the fight." So no COVID stuff. So I think, what was it, the 2 weekends ago or something? We went from 12 to 9 or 13 to 9.
Yeah, that was nuts.
So that was nice that we had most of them, and overall it was a solid card. I mean, I wasn't overly enthused about the main event leading up to the Smith versus Spann. I was like, that could be a co-main if even that.
Yeah, well, we discussed it last night where it's weird that this was even a main event, because even co-main I think is maybe giving it too much credit, and it's not because it didn't have potential. Well, maybe that is why, because I feel like Spann was gonna go the way he went anyways. That was my prediction. Like the only reason why I was maybe a little doubtful is just because the guy can knock you the fuck out.
Yeah. What I didn't realize when they were doing the walkouts, and Smith came out, I think they said 7 of his last 8 fights were main events. I was like, oh, I didn't freaking realize that this guy was doing main. Now, I don't know if they meant main card. No, they probably meant the main event. Yeah, I mean, that's what they said, main event, not main card, I don't think.
At this point,
because his last one was the one, I believe it was the Connor card with Poirier #2, where he fought Jimmy Crute, kicked him in the leg. His nerves got weird, and his leg just kind of bent. That was the last fight Smith fought, and that was obviously not the main event because Connor and thing were, if I'm remembering right, I think that was on the Connor card. So it was Smith and Spann. The line on this was at 2.5, and I think we both were looking at that, kind of unsure why it's that low. Yeah. I thought the over was like, oh, this is generous, and the over was the dog too. I was like, perfect. Easy.
So when they set it that low, the assumption then is that a KO is going to be incoming, right?
Some kind of finish.
That's what you would think.
Some kind of finish.
Which we got.
Yeah.
We did get that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was still a weird place to see it set.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting a decision, but I didn't think it would be as quick as it ended up being the first, but I didn't think it would be as quick as only 2.5 rounds. Yeah. So midway through the third, you're saying it's going to be done. And I was like, I could probably see a fourth or late third.
Maybe the assumption was that Spann wouldn't be able to keep his gas tank full.
I don't know. They were showing the stats when they started showing it, because I didn't look at the stats on them before the fight too much. I think both Smith and Spann, they had a fair amount of, I think, first round finishes or something. So I was like, I guess this makes more sense. So it was brief. I mean, you have in how long is 3-minute 47-second fight. Smith was able to get 2 knockdowns, and he was dominating the whole thing. He had his kicks. I don't know if Spann anything was off coming in, or it was just an overmatch, because you have 6 versus 11. Rankings don't necessarily ever mean anything, but it kind of felt like it was a 6 fighting an 11. It felt like there was a good amount of gap between the top tier in the division and the not lower tier, but lower team of the rankings, I should say. Lower tier of the ranking versus the higher tier. And that's how it felt. When you saw it finish, this looks how it should have probably happened, at least on paper.
It was crazy how quickly Spann even tapped out.
Oh, yeah.
I remember we were like, wow. It almost looked like prior to the choke.
He was already ready to go. Yes. Yeah, because as soon as his hands closed, he was tapping. So, I mean, props to Smith. I guess he already had it positioned well. And, I mean, I think he was flat on his stomach, too. Yeah. I mean, you're screwed. You don't really have anywhere to go from there. So now at this point, it's okay, what's next for Smith? That was 3 in a row that he won after I think he had lost 2 in a row prior to that. Granted, they were against good people. He beat Devin Clark, who we'll discuss next. And then he beat Jimmy Crute. And again, it was a weird fight because he kicked him in the back of the leg. He got, I guess, that nerve damage. Finished that fight. And then he finishes Ryan Spann here. So wonder what'll be next for him. He's 6. Rakic called him out. And I think... And that's where Anthony Smith said, Rakic said to fight, I think, the last pay-per-view, so right before Christmas. And they asked Smith, what do you think about that? He's like, Merry Christmas to me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that would be an interesting matchup.
Well, I mean, if they both want it, I don't see why you would. Yeah.
Because Rakic lost, or did he win? Who did he fight? Santos, right? I think he won, but everyone lost watching that fight. That fight was, when it was announced, I was so excited for that fight, and then they didn't do anything. So I do think Rakic got the win, but it was like a. Did you really though? Like none of you won that fight. That was just a waste of our time.
Hold on, because now I'm curious, but I guess we can keep going. I'm just curious about
Rakic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the main event. Then the co-main was Cutelaba and Clark.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, and our buddy was pointing it out too that it's funny. Clark fought before the two guys. I think his last two fights I think were either against Smith and Spann, or at least both Smith and Spann have beat Clark. So he was fighting right before them, and that's probably it for Clark, I would assume. He lost again, and he lost decisively.
Yeah.
We have 30-26, 29-26, and 29-27. Yeah, I mean, Cutelaba was just dominating him.
No, that first round was insane, dude.
Yeah.
Like we called that one a 10-8, I think, while we were just watching it.
I think so too. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I mean, what do we have? 64-23 significant strikes. I mean, it's light heavyweight. You land 23 significant strikes, and it's not a first round finish or something. You went 3 rounds and you landed 20, like less than 10 a round. That ain't gonna cut it. He had the control time, but I mean, did he do much with it? Don't think so. I mean, I guess where to credit him is 8 for 12 takedowns for Cutelaba too. So
yeah,
I thought that said 0 for 12. I was gonna say credit to him there, but
so
no.
what do you even do in terms like when you're getting that dominated? What are you even supposed to do, man? Because I feel like no matter the level of skill that you have, that's gonna mess with you mentally, right? Like you got to be sitting there at some point going like, "Fuck, what?"
Yeah, like this again.
Yeah, like you're just getting rocked.
I mean, maybe that did happen because I mean, again, he was handled pretty easily. Yeah, I don't. Even entering this fight, I didn't really see. I didn't see a path of victory for Devin Clark, and then if he did somehow win, I was like, okay, what are you gonna do with him though? And now that he lost, I think it's clear what you do with him. You just get rid of him.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, to be fair though, when I was going into the matchup, I was looking at both of their guys who they fought recently. I mean, Devin Clark has fought tough matchups. Like he's not like losing to no one, but at the same time, you have to win. You can't just lose to good people and then just keep losing to good people and not do anything. So, I mean, I don't know if they'll actually release him or not, but it wasn't.
They're gonna have to start releasing all sorts of people. The MMA is just getting.
I mean,
UFC is getting filled with fighters.
And like I have like Uriah Hall, I still don't like that he's on the roster. That guy should be gone. And I don't care he won 4 fights in a row. Who would he beat? Anderson Silva? And then Chris Weidman beat himself, poor guy, snapped his leg in half. Like those 2 fights, like I'm not counting that as part of your 4-fight win streak. When one of them your leg was right there and you got, the guy snapped his leg in half.
Uriah Hall should fight who's that really famous boxer? The one
Jake Paul?
Yeah. They should set that one up. Uriah Hall's retirement fights.
I think they're just gonna ask who's that. Yeah, no. I mean, there's a number of those guys where because he main event. It was a main event with him and Silva, but obviously it wasn't for Uriah. No. It was for Anderson. I think it was kind of already understood that was most likely going to be his last fight in the UFC for Silva, and that fight sucked. But whatever. Point is in Uriah Hall, but he should leave. Not leave. Get axed. Whatever. Go to Bellator. I don't know. PFL. So,
Street beefs.
Yeah, go to Street beefs. He'll do well there. I think
I think so too, man.
Yeah.